Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Star Wars 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at Grand Admiral Thrawn based off his appearance in the Disney Plus Ahsoka series. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. I have popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new Hot Toys Star Wars figure review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, it's clean, simple, effective. It's done in the usual Star Wars style. We've got an image of the figure himself up front, another one on the glossy wraparound banner, but it's the blue. The accent color they've chosen for that banner, that's jumping out at me the most. I don't know if it was because Thrawn was the first to be released in the Ahsoka series line, that's why they went with blue to match his skin color. But if that was the case, very clever move, because the blue on the banner just ties everything together. On the side of the box, the glossy wraparound banner has absolutely wrapped around. We've got another image of Thrawn on it, as well as a picture of his hologram Star Destroyer accessory. Just watch out for this, because it does sit proud of the surface of the box, and it can catch on things if you're not being mindful of how you're handling it when you're popping the box in storage. And then around the back, all of the boring stuff, warnings, legal information, Hot Toy store locations. Now, this is some killer artwork. Thrawn up front with the bright red eyes looking mean as hell, and then the troopers in the background with Captain Enoch behind him. Yeah, I don't mind if I do. This very nicely showcases the Imperial part of the Ahsoka series line. If only the hologram could actually glow like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't. There's no light source in the bottom of it. It's literally just a piece of translucent cast plastic. First in-hand impressions for Thrawn, though. So far, so good. I can already tell that head sculpt is killer. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with surprisingly not that first. We'll get to it in a minute. Let's look at the display base first. It's the usual Hot Toys Star Wars style Imperial flooring base. There's some silver chipping around the tiles, I like that. The nameplate says Star Wars and Grand Admiral Thrawn on it. Then up top, an adjustable crotch grabber. Okay, now we can look at this thing. It's a decent size. This is a massive accessory. You do have to assemble it out of the box. There's the clear plastic stand, and then the rod, and the top mountain Star Destroyer hyperspace ring thing. This attaches to the flat circular disc with 3M double-sided tape. You peel off the bottom, stick it on top, then you can install the stand down below. The sculpt work for the mountain and the Star Destroyer, relatively sharp actually, and because it's cast in translucent plastic, all of the sculpted in line work on the surface just pops. For the disc, this is a thin piece of acrylic, and right now there's a bit of a wave to it. I'm hoping that over time it doesn't get any worse, because the last thing I want to see is this holographic projection starting to droop down, because that would be a no-go for me. I would not be able to display this if it was flopping down and looking stupid. Which would be a darn shame, because 99% of the time, Grand Admiral Thrawn is standing in front of battle plans like that, just plotting his next move. So it is something I want to try and find space for in the collection, as long as it doesn't droop any more than it already has. So we get this brand new blaster pistol mold specifically made for Thrawn. There's some texture on the grip, silver at the front, which is quite shiny, and some dry brushing just on the edges of certain pieces to make it look a bit weathered. This, his space tablet, going to have to display him with this. Once again, the whole plotting thing, this works perfectly for that. There's also a screen on the left side with Arabesh on it, so feel free to pause to read, and if you know what that says, can you just tell me down in the comments, because I've got no idea. And lastly, a full array of blue hands with painted fingernails, painted cuticles, skin texture, wrinkling, vein work, and a great array of gestures. We've got these splayed out finger open palm hands for, once again, more plotting, a gripping hand for the left side, and a thinking hand for the right, a trigger finger hand for the right. The fingers are pretty malleable, so getting the blaster in there shouldn't be a massive challenge. Then these ones, they're installed on him right out of the box. This semi-open palm hand for the right, and a space tablet gripping hand for the left. What we're going to do now is get Grand Admiral Thrawn himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. When we saw Thrawn in Ahsoka, I was worried that they weren't going to make him, because there's not much for them to sink their teeth into with this guy on paper. He's a blue dude in a white outfit. But the more you look at him, and the more you think about it, getting the tailoring right, not easy. Getting the body to look proportionate inside of the outfit, which is pretty baggy in certain places, also non-trivial. But most importantly, nailing a blue dude head sculpt, very challenging to get the likeness to show through. But they make it all look very easy. This guy just oozes presence, and that's what we need with an Imperial type character like this, because if he didn't, he'd be a massive fail. He would literally be what I said just before, a blue dude in a white outfit. There is nothing exciting about that. And I can't even say that it's the series that helps this figure pop, because it isn't. He didn't even really do much in the series. Yes, I've seen Rebels. This is not him from that show. This is Ahsoka Thrawn. So what I'm trying to say is the figure itself is so good that it transcends the source material and makes a piece that could have been boring the opposite of that. He looks mean and he looks imposing. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Thrawn's head sculpt. Let's be honest. The sculpt has to do almost all of the heavy lifting for this piece, because the outfit is pretty straightforward. It does that, like, effortlessly. No problem whatsoever. This sculpt is incredible. From every angle, I can see the likeness to a blue Lars Mikkelsen. Detail-wise, it's also really well done. We've got heaps of skin texture, both sculpted and painted, with multiple layers and shades of blue paint speckled over the surface of the sculpt. Some baggy skin underneath his eyes, crow's feet, frown lines, and the signature Thrawn V-shaped indentation for his forehead. I don't exactly know how to describe that, but it's meant to be there, and it is. The hairline with the individual painted strands meeting the forehead looks quite natural, and the expression with the subtle smirk, I'm not sure if you can see that if it's coming across on camera, but it is in person. The smirk is present. It works for him, especially when you give him a little bit of a head tilt. And when you move the eyes off to the side, because yes, this head sculpt does have moving eyes. But by far my favorite little innovation that they did with this sculpt is there's some baggy skin underneath his chin. It sounds simple enough. Normally that would be part of the neck, not the head sculpt. But making it part of the head means from the front, it just sits nicely inside the high collar and completely disguises the fact that the head sculpt is separate to the neck. It looks like one seamless piece. As you start to turn it, still can't see it, still can't see it. From right about there is where you start to see that seam, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm never going to have him displayed off to the side. A 3/4 turn front on, no problem, maximum range of motion with the split cut neck, but you're never really going to be able to see it. Now with the sculpt separate to the body, you can see what I mean about this baggy skin underneath his chin. Normally that would be a problem if the neck on the body was fixed and you couldn't articulate it, but it is articulated. There's a ball joint underneath it, so he can still look forward without having to worry about this excess plastic colliding with the neck and giving you no range. You'll see what I mean in the articulation segment. To move the eyes around, the head sculpt is hollow, and I'm pretty sure you can see those two little joysticks in there. You can either use the included tool or your finger. It's entirely up to you. Either works just fine. I think this head sculpt comes to life with a bit of a head tilt and the eyes looking off to one side. I know I'm a fan of side-eye. I do it with pretty much every head sculpt that has moving eyes. But if you want to have him looking even more sinister by using that furrowed brow to your advantage, you can do that too. Or you can have his eyes looking off to the other side. Something that most people probably won't do, but you can, is completely remove his pupils, and now he's got these very creepy looking, just dark red blank eyes. This is what I've settled on for now. His eyes are off to the right-hand side, and the best part about this is no two Thrawns are going to look exactly the same. If your buddy has one and you also have one, I'm pretty sure y'all are going to choose different eye positions, and that's just a way of customizing your Grand Admiral Thrawn. His outfit, being a white Imperial officer's uniform, is pretty straightforward, especially from the back. There's just not much to look at here. The stitching is quite sharp, the tailoring is awesome, no complaints there, the shoulder pads are well defined, and we've got some subtle weathering in certain places, like just here at the top of the shoulder where it meets the rest of the tunic, and along the bottom of the skirt, which is wired, not just around the front, but at the back as well. The belt is attached to itself with Velcro, so you can undo that, adjust the position of the belt, do it back up, and lock it in place. Or you can just slide it up and down, I guess. This outfit is a lint magnet. I've been brushing the surface constantly and using my lint roller from my figure first aid kit on it. Nothing is stopping the lint from sticking to it. Something about the very tight weave of the fabric, the subtle roughness to the texture of the material, is gripping onto lint like nothing else. So do the pose first, then grab yourself your lint roller from your first aid kit, clean Thrawn off, pop him in the cabinet, and leave him well alone. His rank badge is not removable. The instructions specifically say just don't touch it, so just leave it there. But it is slightly adjustable, so if you find it's off-center, you can move it a bit, angle it so it's sitting flat across his chest. You will need to pop the code cylinders in these pockets because out of the box they're not installed, or you can remove them entirely if you don't want them to be there. The little clips that sit over the lip of the pocket do a decent enough job of holding them in place. What I want to know is, how did they do this? We've got some indented panel lines on the surface of his sleeves. That can't have been easy to do without stitching it or having multiple pieces of fabric on top of one another. It's one piece of fabric with the detail somehow etched into the surface. His rank shoulder badge things are painted in a very dark gold, and there's a black wash over the top to dull them down a little. The neat thing about the weathering on Thrawn is it's only there if you're looking for it. What I mean by that is, yes, we've got some light soiling on the edges of the tunic, like the sleeves and the bottom, and some scuff marks here and there, so it looks like this has been lightly battle damaged. But from a distance, none of that stuff really jumps out at you. It's not like he's wearing a completely disgusting, filthy outfit. So if you want Thrawn to pass off as though he's from Rebels in a clean uniform, I don't think in your headcanon seeing some little bits of wear and tear here and there will ruin anything for you. It's going to be up to you, of course. Let me know what you think of the battle damage. Was it necessary? Down in the comments below. Speaking of down below, his skirt part of his tunic is wired. I wasn't expecting it to be wired, it didn't have to be, but I'm glad it is, because now for posing, we can adjust this and get it to look like it's got some simulated weight to it. Coming down to his flared Jodhpur-style pants, they're really tight around his knees, but then they get significantly looser for the thighs and they flare out exactly as they're supposed to. They're made of a lighter weight fabric as compared to the tunic, and your eyes are not deceiving you. The tunic is slightly warmer in tone compared to the stark white, almost subtly blue tone fabric for the pants. We also have these stitched in pads around the back that go into the boots for some reason. Oh, Hot Toys, why do you keep doing this to us? The outfit is durable, the body feels solid, the head sculpt is awesome, but the boots, the belt, the holster, all pleather. This stuff could have been sculpted. We've seen them do it in the Star Wars line. Boba Fett from Book of Boba Fett sculpted leather grain texture on his boots and a sculpted belt. There is no need to ever use pleather. It cracks, it degrades, it looks nasty. Maybe not right now, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually it's going to disintegrate and this figure is going to be ruined because of it. Oh, and if you're wondering, yes, the pistol can come out of the holster. There's a little magnet on the strap, so you lift that up, take the pistol out, and then the magnet will do the rest. The strap will sit back down over the top of the holster. They have added these little spaces on the inside of the boots to bulk out the ankles so they don't have that traditional Hot Toys Star Wars boot wrinkling and buckling look to them like Han Solo had. So that's a win. These really need to be sculpted going forward. If you can do it for Boba, do it for Imperial officers and do it for Jedi figures. There is no need to ever go back to using pleather. I would have liked some subtle weathering just on the toe cap because that would have tied the rest of the weathering together with the lower half of Thrawn. Then again, having the boots look clean and pristine like this, I'm not mad at that either. For a quick side-by-side comparison, I've gone all out Rebels. I took the cape off Grand Inquisitor, and now standing next to Thrawn, these two are a fantastic pair. In the display, 100% they're going to be standing side by side. Timeline-wise, this doesn't make a ton of sense, because Ahsoka is set after Episode 6, and at that point, Tarkin is long dead. If you wanted to do it anyway, well, this is what it looks like. Thrawn is taller than Tarkin, which is saying something because Tarkin is no slouch in the height department. He is a pretty tall figure, actually. Ooh, Director Krennic. Haven't seen him in a while. He hasn't left the cabinet in a while. Thrawn, still taller. He's pretty much taller than everyone except for the next comparison. You'll see what I mean. I'm starting to think that maybe I do need to build out an Imperial part of the collection, put all of my officers together, and put all of the troopers around them, because these two, they look great standing side by side. See what I mean? Thrawn is tall, but he is no Darth Vader. This is one of my favorite Hot Toys Vaders. It's the Rogue One version, and he is quite a bit taller than Thrawn is. Seeing this, the white outfit for Thrawn contrasting against the deep, rich blacks for Vader's costume, they play off each other really nicely. One last one, this is just a plain white Imperial Stormtrooper, it's the Rogue One mold. Having a couple of these guys next to Thrawn needs to happen, at least 2, maybe more if you count the Night Troopers and Captain Enoch. Because Thrawn by himself is impressive, but with backup, even more so. Going over articulation, starting off with Thrawn's head sculpt. It's on a ball joint at the base of the neck and another one up underneath the head itself. Looking forward to there, looking up to there, heaps of range, swivel and pivot side to side. His arms will go up to there, relatively unhindered by the full fabric outfit. Going forward on soft ratchets to there. There's a butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90. Then for the wrist peg, it's a ratcheted hinge and swivel. The torso is padded underneath the tunic, so crunching forward is more restricted, going to there, going back to there, swivel, and a little bit of pivot side to side. His legs go forward to there, once again padding, and trust me, I am fighting it. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, ratcheted double bend at the knee, going just past 90. And then a double ball peg inside of the pleather boots, good for forward and back, swivel, as well as ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is pleather. They know that we loathe the stuff, otherwise they wouldn't be switching Darth Vader's suit material to nylon now, would they? But Thrawn's belt, and holster, and boots, all pleather. This stuff could have been sculpted plastic, especially the boots, because there's already a natural seam at the bottom. They could have hidden the split cut into the design of the boots themselves, and they would have looked good, plus they would have been more functional than this, and they wouldn't have degraded over time. The second annoying thing is the sleeve length. Right now it's fine, it's covering up the wrist peg no problem, but if you bend his elbows, there's just not enough excess fabric and there's not enough play in the fabric to be able to pull it back over the wrist peg and obscure all of this visible ugliness. The third annoying thing, and don't get me wrong, I like that they tried something different with the holographic Star Destroyer mountain battle plans thing, but the disc that it sits on is already starting to warp, and I've only just unboxed this thing, so after a couple of weeks, who knows how this thing's going to look. The first cool thing is, not only did they give us one of their best 1/6 scale head sculpts ever with Thrawn, but he's also got moving eyes, so if you're getting a bit sick of the way he looks, just looking straight forward, move his eyes off to the side and use this serious expression to your advantage. The second cool thing is, it's the little details that impress me the most. The front part of his skirt for his tunic is wired. Didn't need to be, it would have sat there no problem without them, but I'm glad that it is because you can have it just billowing off in the wind and it'll help you sell dynamic poses. The third cool thing, and call me a weirdo if you like, but I dig it when we get brand new weapon and accessory molds for Star Wars figures. It feels like mini 1/6 scale world building because usually we get the same accessories and weapons over and over and over again with Star Wars figures. But not with Thrawn, we get some new bits and pieces. Wrapping up on Hot Toys Grand Admiral Thrawn, based off his appearance in the Ahsoka series. Our first live-action Thrawn and our first Thrawn 1/6 scale figure based off that live-action appearance. We did get a Thrawn from Sideshow back in the day, but that was like a comic book style version. It's decent, but it doesn't hold a candle to this piece. He's big, he's tall, he's imposing looking, and he's got presence. You will see what I mean when you get yours in hand. In the right pose, this guy looks sensational. Something about the stark white outfit contrasting with the black accents like the boots and the belt and then his black hair, plus the blue skin. It all just looks creepy and sinister, and the red eyes also help with the creepy factor. They're movable too, so that's a plus. This figure has a lot going for him. If you're an Heir to the Empire fan, or a Rebels fan, or an Ahsoka fan, or a Thrawn fan in general, you probably owe it to yourself to pick up Thrawn here, because I'm telling you right now, this is one of my favorite modern Hot Toys head sculpts, and one of my favorite Imperial officer figures. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. I've popped a link to their site in the description below, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.